Hollywood was burning again, not in flames, but in chaos. Headlines flashed across every screen. Scandals, feuds, cancelled premieres. The entertainment world was restless, unpredictable, and cruelly loud. And somewhere in the middle of it all stood Caitriona Balfe, smiling for the cameras while quietly falling apart. For months, she had been juggling too much: public expectations, grueling work schedules, and a torrent of rumors about her personal life. Every red carpet felt heavier, every interview rehearsed. Behind the dazzling gowns and polite smiles, there was a woman exhausted by the constant noise. Then came that night in Los Angeles. The event was supposed to be a celebration, another glamorous awards season party filled with champagne, laughter, and perfectly posed photos. But as Caitriona arrived, the cameras captured something different. Her usually radiant composure had cracks. Her eyes looked tired, her smile strained. The tabloids noticed immediately, labeling her Hollywood's latest mystery. What the cameras didn't catch, at least not at first, was who was waiting in the wings. Sam Heughan. He had flown in quietly, without announcement, to support an old friend. To the public, they were former co-stars, two professionals whose on-screen chemistry had become the stuff of legend. But to those who truly knew them, Sam had always been Caitriona's constant, the one person who could read her without words. Witnesses said they saw it happen near the backstage entrance. Caitriona was speaking with a reporter when she suddenly excused herself, overwhelmed by the questions about her private life. She slipped behind the curtain, exhaling shakily. And there, standing under the soft glow of a backstage light, was Sam. He didn't speak at first. He just stepped closer, his eyes searching hers, and asked quietly, "Are you all right?" She tried to smile, but the effort broke her composure. "I'm fine," she whispered, though her voice trembled. Sam didn't believe it. He never did. Without hesitation, he reached out, resting a hand on her shoulder, a simple, instinctive gesture that carried years of unspoken understanding. For a long moment, they just stood there, away from the world's noise. Then, gently, he pulled her into an embrace. The cameras didn't catch the start of it, but they caught the end. A single photograph. Sam holding Caitriona close, her head resting briefly against his shoulder, eyes closed as if the world had stopped spinning for just 1 second. It was tender, protective, and heartbreakingly real. Within hours, that photo was everywhere. Sam Heughan comforts Caitriona Balfe amid Hollywood turmoil. Old flames reignite? Fans react to emotional moment at LA Gala. The internet exploded. Some fans swooned. Others speculated wildly. Was it friendship? Something more? The timing was too perfect, too cinematic. The image looked like a still from Outlander itself. A scene ripped from fiction, now unfolding in real life. But those who had been there described something different. It wasn't romantic, one event staffer said. It was human. You could see it on his face. He wasn't playing a role. He was just there for her. Still, Hollywood thrives on chaos, and the headlines refused to fade. Every talk show host had a theory. Every outlet demanded a statement. Publicists scrambled, crafting official responses that said everything and nothing at once. Yet Caitriona and Sam stayed silent. Behind closed doors, that silence spoke louder than any denial could. Friends of Caitriona later admitted that she'd been struggling for weeks before that night. She was under so much pressure, one said. Work, personal life, it all caught up with her. Sam showing up wasn't planned. He just knew. And maybe that was the truth of it. For years, they'd shared a connection too deep to define. A trust forged through endless hours on set, through tears and laughter, through the blurred line between acting and reality. They'd played lovers on screen, but off-screen, they had built something quieter. A friendship strong enough to survive fame, distance, and time. That night wasn't a performance. It was a reminder. When Caitriona stepped back from Sam's arms, witnesses say she smiled, really smiled, for the first time all evening. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice almost drowned out by the distant hum of the crowd. Sam just nodded. "You're okay now." Then they both returned to the spotlight, pretending nothing had happened. But the world had already seen enough. The photos circulated endlessly, dissected from every angle, every frame. Yet what no one could capture was the emotion behind it, the exhaustion, the comfort, the wordless bond between two people who understood what it meant to live under constant scrutiny. Later that night, after the event ended, a journalist spotted them leaving through a side exit. Sam walked beside her, hands in his pockets, keeping just enough distance to keep things professional, but close enough that if she stumbled, he could catch her. No words, no explanations, just presence. And maybe that's all Caitriona needed. Someone who didn't ask her to smile for the camera or answer another question. Someone who simply stood beside her when the world was too loud. As one insider put it, she didn't find romance that night. She found peace, in the one place she's always felt safe, his arms. It wasn't a love story the tabloids could sell. But it was real, and in a city built on illusions, that made it the most powerful story of all. In the days that followed, the photograph refused to die. It was everywhere, on magazine covers, talk shows, podcasts, gossip columns. The world had turned one brief, human embrace into a full-blown Hollywood narrative. Caitriona and Sam, closer than ever? Is this the beginning of something real? The hug that shook Hollywood. Every outlet had a theory, but neither Caitriona nor Sam said a single word. No denials, no clarifications. Just silence, deliberate, steady silence. And yet, silence in Hollywood is never empty. Behind closed doors, friends said Caitriona felt torn. She hadn't expected that moment, that instinctive, emotional gesture, to become global news. She wasn't trying to make a statement, one insider shared. She was just having a bad night, and he was there. That's all. But for millions of fans, that's all wasn't enough. They wanted more. They always had. Caitriona's team issued a careful statement days later, calling the photo a candid moment between old friends. But even that did little to calm the frenzy. It only made people look closer, frame by frame, searching for meaning in every glance, every touch. What the world didn't see was what happened after the cameras stopped flashing. After leaving the event, Caitriona and Sam didn't go to the after-party. Instead, they drove quietly through the hills above Los Angeles, away from the lights and noise. They ended up at a small rooftop terrace overlooking the city. It wasn't glamorous, just 2 chairs, a few flickering candles, and the skyline glowing below. For a long time, they didn't speak. Finally, Caitriona sighed, "I didn't mean for all of this to happen." Sam smiled softly, leaning back in his chair. "You didn't do anything wrong. People will always see what they want to see." She looked at him. Really looked. The way you look at someone who's seen every version of you, the strong and the broken. "How do you do it?" she asked quietly. "Stay calm when everyone's watching?" He shrugged. "You stop trying to control the story. Let them talk. You just live your truth quietly." There was something about the way he said it that struck her. Over the years, Sam had learned to survive in silence, to protect the parts of himself the world would never understand. And maybe, she realized, that's why she had always felt safe with him. He didn't need explanations. For hours, they talked, not about the headlines, but about life. About exhaustion. About growing older in an industry that worships youth. About how Outlander had changed everything and nothing at the same time. They laughed, they remembered, and in the pauses between words, there was a peace neither of them had felt in a long time. "He makes her laugh," a close friend would later say. And lately, that's been rare. In the weeks that followed, Caitriona retreated from public appearances. Sam returned to Scotland for work, but the two stayed in touch constantly. Late-night calls, quiet messages, photos of the sunrise from opposite sides of the world. Nothing romantic, at least not in the Hollywood sense, just connection. Real, grounding, human connection. Still, the world kept spinning its version of events. The tabloids insisted on more: secret dinners in London, private getaways in the Highlands, Every new headline added to the noise. But neither of them corrected the story. And perhaps that was the quiet truth, they didn't need to. Because sometimes, the world's obsession with labels kills what's most beautiful. Something that doesn't need to be defined. Months later, during a film festival panel, a journalist asked Sam about the photo moment. He smiled gently, as if expecting the question. "She's one of my closest friends," he said simply. "We've been through everything together, success, chaos, heartbreak. If people saw comfort in that moment, then maybe that's what it was meant to be." It was the perfect answer, kind, vague, and truthful all at once. But that night, long after the festival ended, Caitriona posted something rare to her social media. A simple quote. No photo, no tag, no explanation. Just words. Sometimes, it's not love. It's understanding, and that's enough. Fans immediately flooded the comments, connecting it to Sam. She didn't respond. She didn't need to. Weeks later, she was spotted in Scotland, far from the Hollywood lights, visiting an old friend's cottage near the Highlands. Locals said they saw her and Sam walking by the loch one morning, laughing like they used to, two familiar figures wrapped in scarves, moving through the fog. No cameras, no interviews, just the kind of quiet companionship that can't be scripted. Back in Los Angeles, the headlines moved on to fresher scandals, newer chaos. But for those who had followed their story from the beginning, that single image, Caitriona in Sam's arms, eyes closed, safe, remained etched in memory. It wasn't about romance or gossip. It was about what happens when the noise of fame becomes too much, and one person reminds another that they're still human. Because in a world that thrives on spectacle, sometimes the most powerful story is the one that happens when no one's supposed to be watching. And maybe, just maybe, that night in Hollywood wasn't a scandal at all, but a small, fleeting moment of peace between two souls who have always understood each other better than anyone else ever could.